Welcome to Animation Principles in the 24th and a half century. So, this is known as a head turn. Head turn is a simple enough thing. We're just having your character look one direction, turn his head, and look the other direction. He can start this direction and look this way, or he can start this way and look that way. It's up to you. What I've done here is I've put his body on one layer. I've got the color card on the bottom layer. I've got the body, then I've got the head. So in this case, this is going to be the timing. This is my head, which is head 1. And this is head 5. It's the key. I circle my key drawings. So this is what we're going to do. You're going to start with your head looking this way. He's going to turn and go this way. Now, to get this first head, you're going to have to draw your head. I want you to draw it in a 3/4 view. So he's not a side view. It's more of a 3/4. So we can see both eyes, his nose, his mouth, things like that. All right. Then you're going to, what you can do, you can flip this. Again, this is an old version of Harmony, but you can grab this like this and you can flip it. Let me just see if I can get out of here. Good. Let me just delete that. So now, if I select my head right here, I can actually flip this. What I'll do is I'll go up into my stage area and I will make a copy of it. So that's Control C. And then I can go to my next frame, say down the timeline over here. Right down here. And I'll push Control V. Now, it's not in the same, it's in the same exact spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get over here, hover my pen over here, and I'm going to right-click on that. And this brings up my choices. What I'm looking for is transform. Transform allows me to flip. So you can flip it vertical or horizontal. So I'm going to flip it horizontally, and now he's there. So now you have kind of like this information. So you got the head turn like that to there and back. So as you see, it looks a little robotic. So what you might want to do is offset that. Just by bringing the head a little bit forward like this, it looks a lot better when he turns his head, you see? Again, that body is on a different layer. So you're just animating that head. Now to get the in-between, this one right here, it's going to take a little time, little skill to do. So if this is my head, I'll do it on this side so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to move this head a little over, sorry, copy it and just move it over a little bit this way. And I'm going to bring this over like that. I'm going to delete a couple of these things here. All right. And I'm going to grab this one and I'm going to copy this one here. So I'm Control C. I'm going to paste it right on the timeline over here. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. And I'm going to paste it over here. Control V. I pasted it. So right now it's a little bit right next to this. So I need to open this up a little bit. So I'm going to move that one over, get this one in the middle, delete the middle one, and do what's called an in-between of this. Now remember, you have your onion skin. You can turn that on. So right now we're seeing these two drawings like that. And what I'm going to do is just kind of find the midpoint. So I'm just gonna use the same color pen and the same thickness of the pen, and I'm just trying to draw in between the two lines. And again, you can do this rough at first. You can always go back and clean it up later. So there, I've kind of figured out where his head is. Now, I do have some information here I have to fill out, like where his nose is. So right now, that nose kind of goes like, there it goes this way, and then it goes that way. So instead of figuring out like what does this look like, you might want to just put a little bit of a nose kind of like that, just a little curvy nose like that. So again, you want to do it in an arc. You don't want to do it straight ahead like this, because it's gonna move funny. You want that nose to go a little lower than these noses, just like the eyes too. So I'm gonna figure out where that point is. Maybe about here looks good. Put a little nose, and then you're just trying to figure out those eyes. So I'm looking at this eye over here. Again, it's okay to flip back and forth between the two drawings. Using your keyboard, you can just flip back and forth and see the motion as you draw it. So this eye right here is there, then it goes to there. So I'm just gonna give it a little bit down here. Now, what I'm gonna do before I do that, I'm gonna kind of think about this. Because when you turn your head, there's this little thing that does happen. People don't realize, but you actually close your eyes a little bit. Otherwise, you're actually a robot if you don't. So here I've kind of got an indicator where those eyes are closing, and I've got his brows. So maybe I'll just bring his brows a little bit down like that. And then his mouth is kind of straight across, but I'm gonna just bring it down just a little bit like that, and that little lip, I'll bring about like that. All right, and then I'll flip back and forth just to see what I got. I'll come in here. So he's there, he's there, he's there. So that looks pretty good. Now his ears aren't on his head. So I've got to kind of figure out where those ears are. As you can see, I'm looking at his ears. So I'm gonna probably see his ears. So I'll probably just put a little indication of an ear in here, maybe a little indication of an ear right there. And then when I flip back and forth, I can see him actually moving his head like that. Okay, good. All right. So you say to yourself, how is the timing of this? We're going to call this head number 1. Head 1. And this is going to be head number 9, which leaves us with this one. So this is the midpoint. This is going to be number 5. Okay. So we want to have this head turn kind of start slowly and get faster when it gets into this position, and then it's going to go into here. Let me put my hair in first. So as you can see, I got a little patch of hair. So I'm just going to kind of fake that in here like this. And he does have a couple things here. So he's got kind of a crown like that. I'm just kind of offset it like that. And now you can see how that head kind of turns like that. Now, when you do a head turn, you always want to, again, you want to get that midpoint a little lower. So it's not straight across. Straight across is like mechanical, but if it moves in an arc, if you just move it down just a little bit like this, you'll notice now when I flip back and forth, it feels like it's a little more natural, like it's turning. I'll turn off this so you can see. Right, looks like he's kind of turning. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to put up the timing chart first. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So we're basically going from head number 1 to head number 5. And we're going to show you how many in-betweens to do that in. So this is head number 1, and this is head number 5. And so we're going to have it ease in, right? It's going to ease out of number 1 get faster. So the fastest it's going to be is number 4 right here. Then we're going to figure out where number 3 is. It's going to be half of that. And then number 2 is going to be in here. So this is what we have to do to make the in-betweens. We take H1 and H5 and we'll get 4. Then we'll take H1 and we'll take H4 and we'll get number 3. And then for number 2, it's just H1 and H3. And that's what that kind of timing chart means. So you're easing out of the move. You're going faster as you turn into this right here. So from here to here, we're going to slow down. So it looks like this. So we're going to go to H9 and we're going to have the halfway point is going to be 6. So to get 6, you just need 5 and 9, and you make 6 first. Once you got 6, now you can make 5 by just splitting it in half and just taking number 6 and taking number 9 and making number 5. I'm sorry, 7. Sorry, 7. There we go. Yeah, there you go. Now, yeah, it makes more sense now, right? So the next point is going to be number 8, and that's where it's going to slow down. So that you get number 7, number 9, and you put them together and you get number 8. So that's how it's going to go. He's basically going to be looking, he's going to turn his head slowly, get a little faster, then start to slow down here. So what I'll do is I'm just going to roughly put this in so I can show you how to do that. Remember, this is on 2s, so each of these drawings are on 2 frames. So right now, I'm just trying to draw this in, and I'm going to expand this a little bit, like that. So here, I'll show you how to do the first one, and then you can figure out how to do the last. So here's number H1, here's number H5, and right now I got that extra one right in there, and that's going to be number 4. So I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to delete that one frame. Pops the head off, but when I turn on my onion skin, you can actually see it. You can adjust your onion skin so you only see those 2 drawings. Again, if it gets confusing, you can always flip back and forth using your keyboard controls, right? And sometimes that really helps a lot more. All right, so basically I'm just going to go over to head shape. I'm going to find that midpoint. I'm going to see where that jaw is about here. I'm going to find that midpoint in here, just kind of sketching it in. You notice his ears right about here, so I'm just going to put about half an ear right in there. So it shows that he's kind of turning his head. And then this is where his head goes up. And he also has a lot of information here, his nose. So I'm just going to put his nose kind of like this, maybe. And then that mouth, I'm just going to go into the midpoint between those 2 lines and kind of just roughly put in another line like that. And in this case, he's actually closing his eyes. So it's up to you. You can have his eyes closed here. It's actually halfway point. So yeah, you might want to just put the eyes in here. So here's the first eye over here and the other eye over there. So I'm just going to find a good spot like right about here. I'm going to, again, now when you have a head turn, think about it. What happens when you turn your head? Sometimes what happens is your eyes move first. So in this case, I'm going to turn his eye this way. It's almost like his eye is leading his head, you know? So I'm going to put another eye over here, like that. And I'm going to put the lid about there so you can see. I'm going to put the brow right about there, kind of find that midpoint between the 2. And then I'm going to just kind of roughen the hair, trying to keep the shapes the same as much as I can. And again, you're not going to see much of that other ear, so that's okay. We'll leave it about there. So now you can see how it's starting to slow down, right? So that's a little bit more slow. Okay, so we're going to take number H. We're going to go to Shift plus, add another one right there. We're going to go to that second one here. We're going to delete that frame because that's the frame that's going to hold our next drawing. We've got it on, so your drawing is actually going to go like that. Okay. So now if I go into that, now I can see a little bit clearer where everything's going. You see that nose, you see where the nose is and all that. So now this is number 3. So I'm just going to go in that midpoint between the two, kind of rough in a nose, rough in a mouth, rough in a little bit of a lip. Try to find the midpoint of between all that stuff. Put in the chin. Going to draw in between the lines here. And here's the ear a little bit more to the point. I'm just going to find kind of mid section here. I can see his hair a lot clearer here. And I'm just going to try to find those shapes a little bit more in here, here. And I've got something right here. I've got a little bit of a kind of protruding outwards here. I'm going to go like that. And now with those eyes, I'm going to find the midpoint of this eye. And remember, I told you, when you move your head, and this is something that you can try for yourself, you can put that eye over here first, because that's what I'm going to do. In this case, I'm going to try it, see if it looks pretty good. Because you think about it, you're basically, when you move your head, your eye kind of will help move, you know, it's, you know, you hear something, your eye is going to look towards it, and then it's going to move your head to see where it's at. All right, so now if I flip back and forth, you can see how it's getting a little bit slower. He looks a little bit more natural. And right there, his eyes are starting to go half lids, and then he's full lids closed. So we're going to go back to this. And we're back at this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one more. I'm going to Shift plus, boop, like that. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to delete that one frame. And now I'm back to this. So now this is my shortest in between right in here. Okay. So now I really have to get kind of in here and just get that nose to kind of be a little bit more defined like that. Find the midpoint, like where those lines are kind of in between. And just kind of curve around here like this. Okay, so there's the ear, and I'm kind of connecting my lines so they kind of are all, you see that line of the hair here. I'm going to go in between those. Going to kind of get that shape a little bit more, trying to keep it like the other ones. This is where it gets a little tricky because after all, he is turning his head. So in this case, this is where the eye, yeah, the eye is going to actually probably pop over here. So you could have it all the way over here. You could maybe do it the halfway mark, you know, put the eye as if he's kind of starting to look that direction, the eyeball itself. The pupil, if you will, is like right about here. And there's the other eyebrow, and there's the other eyebrow. Get that mouth, just kind of indicate where that mouth is. It really didn't move that much. All right, so now I've got these all on ones. So now when I play through this, I'm going to turn off my onion skin because that's usually easier to see. All right, so we're going to start. So this is what my slow out looks like. So I'm going slow, but I'm getting a little faster as I turn that head. So here he hears something, he kind of looks over. Again, if you don't want it to be too robotic, you can always pop that eye over here faster, you know? It's up to you. If you want, some people, what they do, and what's a good idea, is you could start your character, instead of just having him frozen like this, you can go in and Shift plus this, make more of drawings of your character just looking over here, okay? So you could show this for like 10 or 20 frames, and then he starts to turn, like he hears something, right? Like he hears a noise and well, what's that noise, right? So what you can do that, or what I like to do is split it up. So have my head on one layer, and then go up here, make another drawing, call it eyeballs or eyes. Yeah, eyes are good. So we got his eyes. So now what you can do is you could put all these eyes on one layer. So right here, you could just go in, select his eyes and his eyebrows like that. You can use was it Control X? No, sorry, yeah, Control X to make them go away. And then you can put them up here. Go up to your eye level and put Control V to paste them. So there he is. His eyes are on one layer. So now I'm going to go into my onion skin, and I'm actually going to make a couple eyes here. So the first eye I'm going to make is I'm going to make the lids closed. So if he's kind of squinting like this, you can kind of change the shape like that. If he does that, you can actually change the shape of his brows a little bit, just to give it a little, you know, difference. So there, he's kind of looking like that. So there's a blink. And what I usually do is I usually go into this. So I'll blink the character, like his eyes are open, then he'll go into this closed lids, and then he'll go into this half lids. And his half lids look like something like this. You're finding your shape of that eye, and you're looking where that pupil is. And then you're just making a curve, kind of a nice curving line for his lid. And if you do the same thing over here, you can curve his lid this way. And then you've got those brows. So his brows could be about the same. Maybe if you want to move them around, you can. All right, so there it is. There's my eye blink. So I'll show you how it works. This is how it works. First, you need to hold hold this a little longer. So you go to Shift plus, and you make a whole bunch of different eyes right here on your timeline. And at this point, he's going to blink. So instead of on one, I'm just going to add another one here on Shift plus. Where are you, Shift plus? Shift plus, where are you? Ah, here. There. Sometimes you can do it 3. If you want, you can hold this for 3 because it is kind of an extreme pose. And this one, I'm going to hold this for one more pose. So that's on 2s. So now you can see how it's just starting to go. Blink, right? So now we have to get those lids to come out. We need those lids to actually so what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to our first eyeball. We're going to Control C that on our timeline because we're not going to do anything to that eyeball. We're just pasting it. So reusing that eyeball, that blink. So we're going to Shift plus this a little bit. There we go. So now if I extend this a little bit more, like this, and the nice thing about this is you can extend this more, like something like this. So right now his eyes are on this layer. So to get past that, I'm going to go to my mid layer on my head, and I'm going to Shift plus this, boom, 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 like that. And now he's going to be looking, he's going to blink once, and then he's going to turn around like that. And of course, when he starts to turn around, I'm going to make this one the these two drawings here, I'm going to put these all on 2s. And to do that very quickly, you can just click, just do a right click like that. You go up to exposure, and when you click on that, you can see it says sets on 2s or 3s. I usually put on 2s. When I let go, it puts everything on 2s. So now you got this nice smooth turn, head turn. So as you can see, it pops from there to there because I haven't done this yet. So I'm going to let you do that part of your film. It's just doing the opposite. You're just going through and trying to get 6 first from these two, and then you're doing 7 once you got 6. Then from 8, you just have to have 7 and 9, and you'll get 8. And that's the whole animation in-betweening math for this thing. All right. So there he goes. He turns his head. So what happens when he turns his head? He's going to look over here. Again, if you want, you can put different eyes on him and have like one layer just his head with no eyes, and the other layer can have the eyes. That's fine. Or you can do that. Say if he's looking this direction, now we're going to do what's called a take. Okay, so that's something I'm going to go over a little later. So anyway, so what I want you to do is get a good head turn using this kind of timing. So you're easing out from H1 to H5 like that, and from H5 you're slowing down at 6, 7, 8, and 9, and it holds at 9 like that. Okay, so coming up, I'm going to show you how to do a take.